You are welcome to this part where we are going to begin with the alphabet. As we know, to master a new language, we have to begin with the basics. And we are going to begin with the alphabet. As I said, I will be moving from the English language to the Italian language so that things can really be as easy as possible for you. Please repeat after me, as this is going to be a way to really be preparing to see how to be pronouncing words in the Italian language. Please take time to repeat after me. Let us begin with the first letter. The first letter is what we call in English A. What we call in English A. What is it in Italian? It is pronounced A. A is pronounced in Italian A. And then you are having A like in apple. Then you have A in Italian, like in the word amore. Pronounce after me. Amore. Amore is what we call in English love. Then you have A like in apple. Then in Italian we pronounce it A. And that A, you have it in the word amore. Amore, what we call in English love. The next is what we call in English B. Letter B is the same in Italian. You also pronounce it B. B. And that's why I asked the question, is it used in Italian? Yes, we use B in Italian. B in Italian, you also say what? B. Then you have B like in the word English book. Then you are going to also have the B in Italian like in the word bello. Pronounce after me. Bello. You drag your tongue. Bello. Bello. Since we have double L. Bello. This is beautiful in English. Beautiful in English. The next is C. C in English. In Italian, we pronounce it chi. C. We pronounce it chi. C is pronounced chi, and it is used in Italian. For example, you have C like in the word cat. You have C like in the word cat. And then that C we said in the header is chi. Then you have this word casa. Casa. That is house. You have seen that they don't say chi. I mean, sometimes you pronounce it K, but in the pronunciation of the alphabet in Italian, it is chi. Now, see now this sound here. You have this word. How do we pronounce it? Cielo. You don't say cielo in Italian. I'm going to explain it under. You say cielo. Please pronounce after me. Use exactly this pronunciation, this chi. You say cielo. Cielo. That is heaven. Cielo. Cielo. The next is D. D in English. In Italian, it is what? It is still D. D. You have D like in dog. Like in dog. Same also in Italian, you still have D like in the word donna. Drag your tongue, you have double N. Donna. 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 That is woman in English. The next is what we call I. No, E. 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 In Italian, it is pronounced E. E is pronounced E. E is pronounced E. You have E like in the word elephant. E like in the word elephant. Then you are going to have E like in the word emozione in Italian. Emozione. Emozione. That is what we call in English emotion. Emozione. That is letter E. The next is what we call in English F. F in Italian is what? You pronounce F. F is pronounced F. You repeat F. F. Then you have F like in the word fish. Then we are going to have F like in the word festa. You pronounce festa. Festa. And festa is what? Party. Party. We go to the next. We have what we call in English G. Same in Italian. G is G in Italian. G. G is G. You're having G like in girl. Then you also have G in Italian like in gatto. Gatto. You drag your tongue since you have double T. Gatto. Gatto. And gatto is what we call in English cat. The next is H. We have H in English. In Italian, H is pronounced H. H is pronounced H. H is pronounced H. And I precise here that it is silent in Italian, meaning that you don't pronounce the H. You make as if it does not exist. You're having H like in hat. Hat. Then you have it here. You are going to ignore the H as we said. You just start with O. That is hotel. Hotel. And we say it's a loan word because it's coming from another language. But we use it in Italian. You say hotel. You say hotel in Italian. That is hotels. Meaning that you say hotel. Forget the H. The next is I. I in Italian is simply E. I in Italian is E. I is E. And we use it in Italian. You have I like in eyes. I like in eyes. Then you have E, which is in this word, Italia. 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 That is Italy in English. The next one now is J. We have J, which is pronounced in Italian, Ilunga. J is pronounced Ilunga. Ilunga. And I say that word is hardly used in Italian. That's why I say it is usually used only in loan words. Words that is borrowed from another language. For example, you have J like in jump. Then you have Ilunga like in jeans. Normally this is an English word, but we use it in Italian. Jeans, which is still jeans in English. You see, that's a borrowed word, a loan word. The next one is what we call K. K in English. K in English. In Italian it is kappa. K is kappa. K is kappa. Which is hardly used also in Italian. That's why I say it's not used. Usually it is used in loan words. You have K like in kite. K like in kite. Then you are going to have kappa. The Italian kappa like in kebab. Kebab. It's a French word, but it's used in Italian. Kebab. It's a loan word. The next is L. And in Italian we call it what? L. Please repeat. L is L. 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 You have L like in lion. L like in lion. Then we have L. L Italian like in latte. You still drag your tongue because we have double T. Latte. Latte. That is milk. Latte, milk. The next is M. In Italian, it is what? M. M is what? M. M. You have M like in moon. M like in moon. You have M. M like in mama. Drag your tongue. You have double M. Mama. Mama. That is mom in English. M like in mama. The next is N. The English N is what? N. 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 You have N like in nose. And in Italian, the N like in notte. You still drag your tongue. We have double T. Notte. 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 That is night in English. The next is what we call O. O. In Italian is what? O. O is O. We have O like in orange. O like in orange. In Italian we have O like in oro. O like in oro. Oro, which is gold in English. The next is P. Same in Italian. P is still P. P. Italian is also P. We have P like in pen. P like in pen. You have the Italian P like in pane. The Italian P like in pane. Pane, which is bread in English. P like in pane. That is bread. The next is what we call cure. The cure is what? Q. The cure is what? Q. The cure is what? Q. You have cure like in queen. Then you have the Q like in quadro. The Q like in quadro, which is painting in English. The X is the R. You have the English R, which in Italian is eri. The R is what? Eri. Eri. You have R like in rabbit. Then you have the eri Italian like in rosa. Rosa. The eri like in rosa, which is rose in the English language. We are talking about the flower. The next is the S. English S, which is essay. The S is what? Essay. Essay. You have S like in sun. S like in sun. Then you have the essay. The essay like in sole. Sole. Sole, which is sun in English. The next is the T. You have the T, same in Italian. T in Italian too is T. English T is T in Italian. You have T like in table in English. Then you have also T in Italian like in tavolo. 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 That is what we call in English table. Tavolo. Table. The next is the U. What we call U in English. It is in Italian U. The U is pronounced in Italian U. 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 You have U like in umbrella. U like in umbrella. Then you have the U, the Italian U like in uomo. uomo. The u, uomo. Uomo is what we call in English man. Uomo, man. The next is V. The next is V. In Italian, you pronounce it what? Vu. V is vu. Vu in Italian. You have V like in van. Then you have the vu, the Italian vu, like in vento. Like in vento. Vento. That is wind in English. The next one is what we call in English W. W. In Italian, we pronounce it what? Doppia V. W is what? W is doppia V. Doppia V. Doppia V. And I say here that it is hardly used in the Italian language. They use the doppia V in loan words only. For example, you have W like in water. W like in water. In Italian, you have doppia V like in whiskey. Whiskey is an English word, but we use it in Italian. It's a loan word. See, whiskey. The next is X. In Italian, I pronounce it what? X. X is what? X. X. We hardly use it in Italian, except in loan words. You have X like in X-ray. X like in X-ray. Then you have X like in xylophone. 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 That is xylophone. 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 The next is Y. English Y. How do we pronounce it in Italian? Epsilon. Y is epsilon. Epsilon. And I say here that we hardly use it in Italian, except in loan words. Y is what? Epsilon. For example, you have Y like in yellow. Then you have epsilon like in yoga. It's an English word, but we use it in Italian. It's a loan word. Yoga for epsilon. The next is Z or Z in English. Z or Z, depending if you are in the UK or in the US. Z or Z. In Italian, we pronounce it what? Zeta. Zeta. Try to join your teeth up and down. Z or Z is what? Zeta. As if you were grinding something. Zeta. Zeta. You have Z or Z like in zebra. Then you have zeta. Zeta like in zucchero. Just try to join your upper part and lower part of the mouth to pronounce it well. You say what? Zucchero. 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 That is sugar in English. Now let's go now to see vowels in English versus vowels in Italian. Please keep in mind that Italian has 5 vowel letters. Italian has 5 vowel letters pronounced purely one sound. You are going to see the comparison. You see here, for example, you have the Italian vowel. You have what? A. Simply pronounced fa, like in the word father. And then you have what? A. Think about the word father to easily have this sound, the Italian sound A, the Italian vowel A, like in father. You have this Italian word amico. 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 That is friend. Amico is friend. Like we say A, like in the word father. Then in Italian you have amico. You have friend. The next is E. You have what? E, like in the word bed. E, like in the word bed. You have E like in the word bene. Bene. You have in the word bed in English. You have bene. Bene is well in English. The next is E. E. They pronounce this vowel in Italian E. Just think about the word machine to have that sound. E, like in the word machine. You have it in the Italian word isola. 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 That is island in English. In that to have the sound E, remember the word machine. To have the sound E, the vowel. Like in the word isola. That is island. The next is O. O. We think about the word pot or go in English. We have O like in oro. 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 That is gold. We think about the word O to get that sound O. The next is what we call U. 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 U as in root. U like in root. You have it in the word uomo. Uomo. U like in uomo. That is man in English. You think about root. Root in English to get that sound U. You have uomo. Uomo. Now let's touch about consonant and special Italian sounds. Italian consonants are generally pronounced as written, but a few have special rules that we are going to see here. And you need to really master these rules to be able to pronounce words properly into the Italian language. Let's start with C and G. C and G, sometimes they can be soft or they can produce hard sounds. Now let's start with C. When you are having C before A and I, when you have C before A and I in Italian, you are going to pronounce that C as Ch. Please keep this in mind. When you are having C before A and I, you will pronounce that C as Ch. As Ch. Then, when you are having the C before A or U, when you are having the C before A or U, you are going to pronounce it as K. Keep this in mind. C before A and I, you pronounce it Ch. Now C before A or U, you pronounce it K. Let's see some example. For example, I'm having this word. You will not pronounce it as an English people, somebody will quickly see it. You will not say Sena. No. You are going to say what? Chena. Why do we say Chena? Because the C is before A. You say what? Chena. You say what? Chena. Repeat after me. Chena. Chena. That is dinner. Chena. Because the C is before A. Say Chena. Under here now you say what? Cane. It becomes Ka because the C is before A. It becomes what? Cane. 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 That is dog. Now always keep this, that the C depends in front of which vowel it is. That's why you will see if it is Ch or is K. The next is G. When you have G before E or G before I, it is going to be pronounced J. G before E or I, you pronounce it J. Then when you have G before A, O, or U, you pronounce it G. G before A, O, or U, you pronounce the G, G. For example, you have here, how do you pronounce it? You say gelato. You don't say gelato, you say gelato because the G is before A. You say gelato, gelato. Ice cream in English. Gelato. This one you say what? Gatto. Why do we call it gatto? Because the G is before A. That's why it has the sound G. Gatto. Gatto. That is cat. Now let's see this other sound. When you have G and L, G and L, G and N, G and N, you are going to have this combination in terms of pronunciation. Let's take some example. You have G, L, and I. When you have this one, G, L, and I in Italian, you are going to pronounce it as li. Think about the word million. Million. You pronounce it li. This one becomes li. For example, you have this word. You will pronounce it familia. You will not say famiglia. No. You say familia. Mean that this is girl, I. It becomes li. You say what? Familia. 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 Because we have this sound. Li. Familia. That is what we call family in English. Familia. Familia. The next. When you have G and N, it is pronounced ny. Think about the English word canyon to have that sound ny. G and N is pronounced ny, like in the word canyon. You have an example, you say what? Lasagna. Lasagna. You have the ny sound. Lasagna. Because we have G. Lasagna. Lasagna. Also keep in mind that the H is silent in Italian. H is silent in Italian. And it is used to distinguish words. As we said, usually from loan words. You see, the H is silent. When you have like this, you just pronounce it A. And it appears usually in foreign words, as you saw. Hotel. Hotel, you forget about the H. Hotel. Hamburger. Hamburger, you forgot about the H in Italian. And that is exactly in the English pronunciation also we have some peculiarities too. Because English vowels can have multiple sounds depending on the word, as we know. When, for example, you are having a word like A, it can be pronounced like cat or cake. That very A can be pronounced cat or cake. You have the E, which can be pronounced bed or E, like in me. The same also you have I, which can be pronounced E, like in sit, or I, like in sight. The same also like O, which can be pronounced O, like in hot, or Eu, like in help, like in help. You have U, which can be pronounced like cup, cup, or U, like in cute, or even U, like input, input. And that is why this sometimes makes it difficult for those who are learning the English language from the Italian language. And also this particularity we saw here with those ch, ny, you don't need to bother a lot about that because with practice, as you continue to practice and practice, that is how you are going to master this pronunciation. Continue to practice and practice, and you are going to master this pronunciation. Thank you for paying attention.